Hey YouTube, it's Petey Two Finger, and I want to talk about this holiday coming up. Halloween is a huge deal in America, and I'm not down with Halloween. It bothers me. There's certain things that are hot button issues with me, like if somebody's eating candy in the same room with me and I smell it, it will set me off where I just start seeing red. For one, I have a reaction to smelling fruity, sweet, and perfume smells. Like my wife wears Chanel Coco perfume very rarely. Even when we were dating, she very rarely wore it. And I like that smell a lot. There's certain perfumes that a woman will wear that I really like. But then there's the other 99.9% of them that I don't like. And like I said, if I drive by somebody's house and there's a galleon with a bunch of 24 skeletons on it, I it just makes me see red. Now, my mom in the first part of her life was more of a normal churchgoer or non-involved Christian. She was a Sunday Christian, maybe you'd call it. And then she had an experience where she became born again, filled with the Spirit, whatever you want to call it. And she had a personal relationship with her Savior, Jesus. And that lasted the rest of her life. And it really affected everything about the way she lived her life. And she would often bring this message to other people. And I walked away from that feeling a little scarred on certain things that I was exposed at too young of an age. Now we didn't celebrate Halloween. I remember one year trick or treating. I was really little. My brother was an Indian, I was a cowboy, and they had a plastic mustache with these things, pinchers that would grab onto the septum of your nose. And when they put that in there, it was sharp, and it felt like I was about to start bleeding in there. And I was like maybe 3 or 4. I don't know. I was probably 17, but for this story, I'm going to say I was 3 or 4. Started crying, and they had my mom had a camera, and it turned into this. They were wrestling with me to try to get this thing in long enough to take the picture. And I think there is some pictures of me crying dressed up like a cowboy when I'm real little. And that was it. We never trick or treated again. But it wasn't that issue with the me getting upset and crying. It was my mom just felt that all of this was not glorifying God as much as it was the other guy. So we didn't do that. Now, she did give out candy, and good candy. I remember the miniature Hershey, where it had a crackle, and like it would be a double wrapper. There would be a paper wrapper and then foil, which I don't know. Kids, it's all about packaging. Like if I was going to design stuff for kids, I would just, the more waste that you can put into the packaging, the more the kid's going to want the thing. So I walked away from it full with a nice sugar buzz because there wasn't that many kids coming on our dead end street. And we were also the house that gave out tracts. We gave out these things called Chick tracts. So maybe I'll put a link in the description if you've never seen them. Chick tracts were really something else. They were miniature comic books that dealt with some really, really heavy stuff. I remember one was about a family having a Bible study, and the Russians came in and beat them up, and then they had guillotines, and they I don't know. It was like you had to, if you wouldn't denounce the Bible, you'd get to go in the guillotine, and then one of your family members would pull the lever. Just something really disturbing. Another one was kind of like a Jim Morrison guy, and the record company severed his brake line, and then he died at a young age and became a rock god. And they had this. It was like in Los Angeles, they had this like altar where they put the master tapes, and they were like summoning demons into the recording with these robes on, and there was some really trippy stuff, including I think they had a psychedelic track where the guy lost his mind, and there was a big spiral, and he was falling down it. Maybe I'm thinking of Joe. Joe Takes a Trip from the Man in Demand book, the Baptist thing. But no doubt there was a psychedelic trick track, and we handed these out into kids' Halloween treat bags. And looking back at that now, I don't know if my kid ended up with one of those. I think I would want to find out who did it and go and knock on their door and not punch them out or anything, but just be like, that's my choice. It's not your choice to lay something that heavy on my child. So that was always my thing, was let your kids choose. It's not everybody's thing. There's other people who, they raise their kids going to Sunday school because they want their kids to turn out right. So it's not for me to discuss or cast shade on anybody, but the interpretation on me, I think, was that I was more just whatever I could get from the hand of Satan, I was taking it. And there really wasn't how it was at all. I witnessed to my friends that I made music with, all my buddies that were doing acid and reading the Necronomicon. I didn't go. The guys I was in the band with were reading. They were doing devil worship. They were reading the book by the Mad Arab, the Necronomicon, and whatever you can say. Oh, that's not true. That was made up. Well, my point is, I could have went with them and read that, but I didn't. I really I wasn't taking stuff directly from the hand of Satan. It was a drug dealer, and I have to say the only good drugs I ever did were the psychedelic ones, because those would hammer you with your past, and you would be forced to confront where you had let yourself and your loved ones down, and you would walk away from it with kind of a blueprint for what you could do to become a better person. So I'm not here extolling the virtues of psychedelia or trying to make myself look like a saint. I did a lot of stuff that I knew I wasn't supposed to do, but where my heart was, I really wasn't on Team 666. I know a lot of the guys that I hung around with were, and I wasn't. So I got to clear the air on that. Now, that being said, I never allowed my kids to have any candy. I was a terrible father. If I smell that stuff, I get an instant headache, and one of our kids inherited that. It's not an imaginary thing. I can't smell. There's all kinds of perfumes that I don't like either, or air fresheners. I'm very selective about aroma, and I don't like being having someone else impose an aroma on me, which I did for so many years when I was a smoker. But like I said, it does bother me to no end about how seriously America takes Halloween. Like it's this big thing. They spend so much money and spend so much work and so much time on decorating their yard. It just gets to me. I mean, when I was a kid, 4th of July, lighting fireworks with my cousins, that was just being with them. Being with the group of kids who accepted me. The older group of cousins kind of picked on me, and then this younger group, there really wasn't a leader. They were just the cousins. And they didn't really welcome me in. I mean, I wasn't with them, but I tagged along, and they accepted me on that level, and I was able to joke around with them, and that was my favorite holiday. I could care less about Christmas. Christmas was a commercialized thing. The whole thing with gift giving, and unless you're in a place where you can buy everybody a lot of really nice gifts, Christmas is a miserable time for you. And I often never had any resources to do that. So being there when everyone's opening all these presents and no one gives you anything because you don't give anything else, it's a sad time. So I'm not a big holiday guy. You know me. There's one thing that I really am able to enjoy, and that's playing playing stringed instruments. We last year we did a Halloween spooktacular, which was we played the theme from my favorite old scary movie, Phantasm, and I'm going to re-upload that for this year. That's what I'm doing. So I can go, oh, I don't like when people go way out of their way, and here I'm guilty of doing the same thing. That being said, it was a pretty quick thing. We learned it. We put some robes on. We played it in front of the camera. I edited it, and I'm going to re-upload it this year. So if you haven't seen that, or even if you have, enjoy the Spooktacular. That's going to be coming in a couple of days. Where we live now, there has never been trick-or-treating. Never. So we don't. I think we usually will get a little bit of candy. Our kids, we would take them to the finer neighborhoods. And like one year, we got a bee costume from someone who was like, oh, your daughter can be a bee for Halloween. And I had said, oh, zombie. So we did the green face paint with the bee. Because the year before, the baby was maybe 6 or 9 months, and I put zombie makeup on it. And so that continued. It was like zombie princess, zombie robot. Like she would dance around. I am a robot, da, 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 and then pull the helmet off and whee! Flesh craver. And they always did really great. They would come home with a lot of candy. And I would go through and be like, okay, there's 17 Reese's here. That's dad tax. I would take one. And then they would like come out and be like, Dad, I know what your favorite is, and they give me another one. So I would usually get into the Reese's. The dad tax. And just demand that they consume the rest of that stuff in their room. And I didn't want them. There's a clip of the chick or treat. Smell my feet. Better give me something good to eat. I said, boo. Remember? There's a clip of us dumping candy on her.
Yeah, we filmed that. But
Yeah, I wonder if it's on YouTube.
Maybe.
So yeah, maybe I'll look and find something special. But I wanted to tell this particular story. And the point of everything that I went on and on about isn't so much like, oh, you're supposed to feel sorry for me because I had it so bad, or people misinterpreted me and thought I was evil when I wasn't, and I'm such a holy, I did so much good in my life. That's not it. I made a lot of mistakes and made the bad decisions more than the right. So I've got no right to talk, and I certainly don't want to judge anyone. And that's the point. Is no matter if you're good or bad. My opinion, my thing is try not to be so judgmental. The type of person that I am, how I'm wired, the easiest thing to do is to look at somebody behind their back and tear them to pieces, throw them in the shredder. And that's not the best thing to do. That's the worst thing to do. So if you take anything away from this, it's that thing I'm always saying on here, which is be nice. Just try to accept people. And that could even go like I knew someone who was made it a point to alienate themselves from a group of people because they had brought the message of salvation to these people, and these people kind of rejected it. And this person said, well, I'm going to stop coming. I'm not coming around. And I thought, man, did you miss the mark? Isn't it that you're supposed to go around and be a great witness just by your character? That you would stand out because you had found the answer, that you had Jesus in you, and you would be so amazing and funny and loving and smart and have everything, that these people would see that and come to the Lord through your testimony of just you, rather than choosing to say, I'm not coming around anymore, which is sad because I miss that person. So ultimately, I can't come to you like I know anything more than the next guy, or I'm good or better or not bad. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to manipulate how you perceive me. I'm doing this for myself to keep myself in check, because my natural reaction is just that, is to do the wrong thing. And I think to some extent we're all like that, you know. Anyway, back when we were Happy Halloween. back when we were living in Willowbrook, which was like it had a pool. It was kind of a ratty, just the people that lived there. It seemed like it was a lot of bad people. So it was a apartment complex, and they had these long buildings, and there was a bunch of them, and there was a pool, which was great because our daughter was young, and she got to grow up having her own pool, and we were there every day in the summer. So we're living in Willowbrook, and we never got any trick-or-treaters. This one day I'm there, not working. It's like 3:30, and I got a knock on the door. And I open the door. I'm like, who's knocking? You know, these two little kids, like 5 and 6 years old. And they're like putting their hands out. And I go, what gives? And they go, trick or treat. I go, trick or treat, huh? I go, what? They're not even wearing costumes. I go, what are you supposed to be? And the kid goes, I'm baseball. He's got a baseball
player or something. He said.
He's got a baseball cap on. And then I look at the other kid, and he just like shrugs. He didn't have a cap. So I go, oh man, I've got just the treats for you. We didn't have nothing. So I go in the house, and I go, hold on, I didn't open them yet, but you're gonna really love these treats. And I'm like rifling through the junk drawer, and then I'm like hamming it up. This is going on for like 2 minutes. I'm going through the kitchen, making all this rustling noise. And so then I finally come out, and I go, okay, put your hands together. And I go, no, really cup them, because this is a lot of treats. And they're all waiting to get their, and I let them loose. And it was like 4 pieces of unpopped popcorn. And the kid goes, what is it? Like they even like, it fell and one bounced out, and the kid like reacted. He goes, what is it? And I go, well, it's popcorn. And then they look at me, and I go, you have to pop it yourself. Trick or treat. Boom. So that's my favorite trick or treat story. And if you do participate in Halloween and trick or treat, maybe on the flip side of that, think about doing something on Easter. If you're a believer, you know, put the same level of effort in for Halloween as you do for a Christian holiday. All right, you guys. Have a safe holiday. Enjoy yourselves. If you're looking for a good scary movie to watch, Phantasm was the one that I really liked when I was a kid. Or if you've never seen the first Friday the 13th, that's really scary too. All right, take care of yourselves and peace.